Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day that you are currently watching this. As for me, it's currently 11 p.m. I had this genius idea of drinking caffeine at this time, so I'm working a little bit late. And as of course, we have my planner, my journals, my notebooks, my remotes, and I'm currently working on a project that I haven't started shooting, but I'm hoping I'll start shooting soon. There's a lot in my mind, and I wanted to indulge you in some of the things I wish I knew before getting a tattoo. And yes, I recently got my first tattoo. I would show you, but it currently looks like pus, ooze, and a really bad decision. I'll try inserting a photo and videos here to show you how the progress is at the moment. The idea to do a tattoo came to me a very long time ago. The first moment I got the phone call about my brother and everything that happened after that moment, the word that kept ringing in my head is the word surrender, because I was so deep in shock then, and up till now. Up till now, there are still moments where something must be said or something will be mentioned, and I'll still be shocked. I'll still be wondering, you mean I can't talk to my brother, I can't call him, I can't reach out to him? The concept still surprises me to date. I remember I wanted to have that name tattooed a long time ago. My heart kept telling me that tattoos are very permanent, so I needed to give myself time to grieve, time to understand what is happening, time to understand the weight of that decision, and so on and so forth. So something happened recently. I want to admit that today is Monday. So something happened over the weekend that, and it's not just the weekend, even last week. I think I was re-triggered deeply last week. A number of things happened, and I was gotten back to the root shock. Of course, the first two things concerned my brother, but then later it concerned different aspects that I'm sure over time I'll talk about in this channel, because I refuse to just live with my thoughts and the lessons that I'm getting in this season. When you get into the journey of getting a tattoo, I thought it was obvious that you just can't get a tattoo out of the blues. You have to do a little bit of a research. So my research on tattoos made me realize that not everyone knows that the first thing you should know about getting a tattoo before you get a tattoo is do your research. I thought that was obvious. And the research goes to everything and everything, from what you want to get tattooed. Is it a name? Is it a symbol? Where are you going to get the tattoo? Where are you going to draw your tattoo? And what is its implications? I thought that was obvious. But then turns out that is not obvious to everyone. And that is not what I wish I knew. I also thought that a person will be mindful about what the meaning they place on their tattoos. I have found several people who tell me that they just get tattoos just because. I Up till now, that concept intrigues me, that you just wake up in the morning and decide, I want to just get my skin drawn. That one I don't understand. So anyway, the first thing I wish I knew about getting a tattoo, the one thing I wish that was so much on the forefront, is the aftercare of a tattoo. I think most of the people, and I am the protagonist, most of the people, you think about getting a tattoo and you think it's just the name, you think it's about where you're going to place it, but nobody really talks about the aftercare. I didn't know that once you get a tattoo, you shouldn't be under direct sunlight. Something about being under direct sunlight can cause scars. it can cause the ink to fade. I didn't know that. I didn't know that I shouldn't be swimming, or like I shouldn't shower with hot water. And I didn't know that there are several ways that I didn't know the concept of a tattoo aftercare, to be honest. You know, you need to know how to take care of your, if you're going to use, let's say, an antibacterial to wash the infected areas, because basically it's a wound. As for me, my he calls himself a doctor. The other one is calls himself a machine lord. So both of them advise me to wear a second skin, which is currently what I have. And according to my research, the second skin is important because it gives you the most benefit in terms of the prevention of infections or an interruption with the external world, be it water, be it dust, because it covers it fully. And according to my research, you need to put it for as long as possible, between 5 to 14 days. That should be depending with, again, how big your wound is and how badly it's oozing. Because mine is a small tattoo, yes, it's oozing and it's looking like bad decisions, but it's not painful, it's not itchy, it's not, there's nothing, there's no cause of alarm. And this is day 2 that I'm working. This is day 2 that I'm waiting for it to heal. So I wish someone told me about the aftercare, that I should avoid the swimming pool, that I should expect, the oozing, for example, of the ink. I remember the first time, like if I got the tattoo today in the evening, when I woke up tomorrow in the morning, I remember looking at it and immediately calling the artist and saying, yo, your tattoo has been ruined. And I asked him if I could send the photo. And when I did send the photo, he laughed at me and said that is normal, because that is how the healing process starts. So I'm out here. I don't know. I'm hoping it heals well. Seems like it's normal. So I'm just sitting here waiting for it to finish the said 5 to 14 days. I don't know how long I'll go with it, but this is day 2 and it's successful. And it's successful. The skin is not peeling. The second skin is not peeling. There's nothing that looks off. I'm not having itchiness, and I'm good. But I really wish people were very vocal about the aftercare. The second thing I wish people talked about, in fact, I don't think anyone has talked about this until until I was chatting with AI, like we do in the 21st century. And it is from the conversations with AI that I realized that this is more common than anyone cares to admit. There's something called a tattoo blues, and tattoo blues comes with a host of things, and it can be evidence to you in different ways. For example, you start having, there's a physiological effect. This is where, when it didn't happen for me, but for some people, you have a rush. You get an excitement when you're getting the tattoo. It's like you feel like you're going to be the ish. You're going to be the ish. But then when you wake up in the morning, you realize you really are not the issue. You're the same person with the same thinking process, thinking patterns, and now with your quote unquote stupid tattoo. So that is one of the physiological effects. For me, the physiological effects appeared as a deep sadness, a deep hollowness, a deep emptiness. I don't know what I expected when I was getting the tattoo. Okay, there are some events that unraveled that made me certain that this is the time I want to get the tattoo. In addition to this being a 1 year anniversary to my brother. In fact, because it was such an anniversary to my brother, I didn't want to get the tattoo, because I remember feeling so afraid, because I haven't yet reached the place of acceptance in a deep-seated way like that. So I thought, if I get this tattoo, it brings a certain finality to it. But then whatever happened. It made me realize that what I wanted to tattoo wasn't just about my brother. It is about it is about what life means since 2024, because I chose to write the word surrender. It's about the radical acceptance of things, not because they are happy, not because they are jovial, but because what else do I have without trusting the process? You know what I'm saying? So I think when I was getting the tattoo, I was hoping that I'd wake up in the morning and feel this certain sense of resolve within me, that regardless of what adversity is thrown at me, personally, professionally, socially, financially, spiritually, I will just have that innate resolve. So when I woke up and I didn't have that determination of life, I didn't have that resolve, I felt so bad. I felt the sadness that I felt was still within me, the emptiness that I felt was still within me. And I felt disappointed even having the tattoo. Not that I regretted having the tattoo. I just hated that it didn't give me that ace on my chest, Superman or something. And when I chatted with the AI, it said that that is part of what I should have expected. And I wish when people did their research on getting a tattoo, that is one of the things that they are told, that they are going to experience tattoo blues that can be evidenced with their physiological effect. The second effect, according to AI, is that tattoo blues can be evidenced through psychological effects. The psychological effect is it is the mental processes that goes in your head. For me, it was evidence with the identity crisis that I found myself in. Before I got a tattoo, I really loved tattoos, but like not on me. I love tattoos on people, especially men. I find tattoos so bold, so beautiful, so masculine. So much so that sometimes for me, I'd meet a guy who, in my opinion, is a beta, not an alpha, a beta, but a beta with a nice tattoo. He's giving, for me, it gave him main character energy. And up till I got a tattoo, I didn't realize that I had prejudice on tattoos. And for example, I realized that because of how I associated tattoos with strength, with confidence, with masculinity, beautiful masculinity, when I see it in women, I don't automatically think this woman is masculine, but because of the adjectives that I associate with tattoos, I always imagine women, the femme fatale of this generation, the women who are either rogue or insanely confident and, insanely risk takers. Have you ever met these people, these girls who are beautiful, but they're not dainty, they're not fragile, they're not delicate. They are so, quote unquote, they're masculine. They're beautifully masculine. Not in an aggressive way, but like in a very confident way. I find people with tattoos, girls with tattoos, that is what my thoughts towards girls with tattoos. And now I woke up having an identity crisis, wondering, now that I have a tattoo, does that mean that I've become rogue? Because I know for sure I don't think of myself as a main character or like those insanely beautiful people who are insanely confident and insanely risk takers. Some of my friends, some of my colleagues, some people in my social circle will say I am that, but like the Johari window would say, there are things you know about yourself, there are things people know about you, you don't know about yourself, then there are things that have a common denominator. So much as some people will say I am that and a little bit more, I don't think of myself in such confidence, such beautifully feminine uh, adjectives. So I remember just wondering, no, not wondering. Yes, I was wondering, but then later it was just a conflict and a sadness. I was thinking, no, I already see how people will see the tattoo. strangers especially, and possible suitors because I'm single. Um, and just thinking and just having an opinion about me. And for men, I find it being beautiful. It's not an identity for women. The identity I have for women, it's not an identity that I want linked to me. So I remember just feeling, have I done a mistake? Have I done a mistake? How am I going to handle this? I do my research, and I do my research after I've already gotten a tattoo and realized that is something that happens. That is one of the things that I should have expected. And I wish those are the two main things that I wish. Those are the two main things that I wish I knew before getting a tattoo. The third thing, which I feel is part of the tattoo blues, the third thing I wish I knew or was just put so much out there is that there is a process to getting a tattoo. No, what I mean is there is a process to accepting. What do I want to say? Beyond getting inked, there's a process of you coming to acceptance of the identity. People have this thing where there's the you after the tattoo and there's the you after the tattoo. And then for some people, it's like a brand new person where every time you look at the tattoo, it inspires you or it reminds you or it is, there's an identity, there's a process. It's called an initiation phase where you start making peace with what that tattoo means being on your skin. Is it is this something that you're embracing? Is it something that you're challenging? An initiation process to it, and I wish I knew that. And for some people, it becomes part of you. It is, there's no before, there's no after. It is just you. You know, the way you are tall, you're short, you're light, it becomes part of you. If you are a person who, for example, is religious, or you grew up with parents or caregivers who are very strict about tattoos, if you had strong opinions about tattoos, you know, now you have a tattoo, you have got, there's a process to it. Before you reach acceptance, there's a process to it. And I wish I knew, I wish I took into consideration what that process is. Because on a day like today, where it was my first day at work with a tattoo, I found myself wearing a long sleeved, and it's not this one, it's a jacket. And while I was wearing it to keep myself warm and to hide the tattoo from direct sunlight, I realized that didn't want to I didn't want my colleagues to see it. And then that thought automatically brought me to the thought of interviews, presentation, you know, the corporate life. I'm like, now who am I in the corporate life? I'm going to have certain clothing for interviews. Do I have to have certain clothes for interviews because I do not want to be perceived in a certain way? Are we living in a society where I can get or lose a job based on a tattoo? You know, those are the things that came to mind. And the thing is deep seated, to be honest, because I remember when the tattoo artist was doing his thing, I asked him, now, yeah, kindly, I made a joke saying, yeah, kindly finish that tattoo is the best way you know how, so that I can eliminate 50% of the suitors that I actually want. And he laughed and said, you'll be surprised that you'll actually have attracted 50% of those you didn't know was in your bracket. You'll think that you're chasing people away with this tattoo, but you're probably bringing more people. That's what he said. And then immediately shortly after he had completed the tattoos and he had taken his videos, I remember the two guys within the shop who came to say, let me see how it's finished. The guys were slender, good looking, but had dreadlocks. These are people who, in my books, if they approach me, if they talk to me, I'm in trouble. Like, I even want to start confessing my sins to the Lord and apologizing and asking for protection. But they were very chill, they were very friendly. They were like, wow, nice. And they was striking up conversations. So I remember looking at my artist and asking him, so now this is my new normal, because now I'm getting friendliness from people who are not exactly my caliber, and I don't know how I feel. They were treating me like I am one of them, much as there's no us versus them, but there is. It's like when they sing this song, uh, dreadlock is not a Rasta thing, or something, and the rest of us, we look at them and say, but it is, but it is. Anyway, that is part of the identity crisis. I also remember just thinking about, there's a lot of things I've thought about. I remember just thinking about how I become my mom's worst nightmare, because I know my mom is not a big fan of tattoos. She automatically thinks tattoos is wrong. But then I also know someone very, very, very close to me who had a tattoo, and just thinking about the moment they told me about the tattoo, and I feel so trusted. I didn't even think the person trusted me this much with information. But then now that I'm in the process, I realized I was trusted with so much information. I was trusted with the information that they wouldn't want so many other people to know. And it's not a tattoo that was plastered it was that was plastered in the forehead. Life. And because of I'm not yet 100% fully there in the acceptance of the tattoo, I find myself still wearing long sleeves in the house because I don't want to look at it. I don't want to be the girl with the tattoo. And don't get me wrong, the tattoo is beautiful. I'll I'll insert videos or a photo so that you see. The tattoo is beautiful. But then I feel like it's a little like so many things in the season that I currently have been. There's so many changes that I don't want to accept, but I have to accept. I just don't want to be jolted into acceptance like 2024 did to me in so many things. It's like I just want to dip my toes in that pool of change and just swirl my feet, test the temperatures, and as my body adjusts, immerse myself slowly, because the change is inevitable. It's here. There's nothing I can do about it. So, some of the things that I've been advised to do by AI is that I need to look at the tattoo once in a while. It was advising me to look at it, but then right now, because it's oozing, it's not. I have a photo, I have videos, so I keep looking at it once in a while. It says that first thing, one of the earliest things that I can be in shock, in denial, in anger. Even some people go through anger. I'm not angry. I'm just empty and sad. I was, but then over time, you come to accept it. Like at intervals, I look at that interview and I know, much as I've got feelings, the emotion I had towards it were not positive at first. I know that I did the right thing, because this is something I've wanted for about 1 year, ever since I got that phone call, and it serves to remind me that I need to surrender, and not just to the new normal at the absence of my brother, but like to life. There are so many things about my life right now that I didn't expect. In fact, the words that I said in my journal is, there's so many things about my life right now that I deeply hate. I deeply hate. And you have to first of all accept that you hate whatever it is that you're hating. For the healing process to start, you have to grieve whatever it is that you need to grieve. You have to grieve the life that you thought you're going to have, the people that you're going to have, the jobs that you're going to have, the situations that you're going to have, the places that you're going to live. You have to grieve that before now you're able to move forward to the things and people and experiences that jolt you forward. And that is it. So the third thing, I wish people who talk about tattoos just are very vocal about the process. where someone is told that it's not just about getting the tattoo. There's what comes after you getting the tattoo. There's the identity crisis, both internally and in the external world. There's you dealing with the reality of it. If you, for example, wrote a tattoo that matches your best friend or your spouse, and for some reasons they are not there in your life, how are you going to deal with that permanent mark? Does it serve you? Does it serve as inspiration, or does it serve as a painful memory? And then there's also another thing that I learned from my artist. I wanted to get a very small tattoo because I didn't want anything that would be loud. This was something that was supposed to be an encouragement and a very private letter to me, so that anytime I just fall apart, I can look at it and be reminded, you're trying to be in control of things, just surrender, just go with the flow and stuff like that. So I remember the font size that I chose, and the artist is the one who told me that after some time the ink sort of blots into the skin. So if you take a font that is too small, it's going to be almost invisible. You can't tell what word it is. And that's when there's a way he explained it. It made sense. If you are an OG, you in from Kenya, you remember Taidi High when OJ got a tattoo and his uncle Omosh made a joke. OJ said that it was a spider. Omosh was saying inaka is inaka kuku because of how it had transformed. The explanation from my artist gave that imagery in my head, that if you don't get the right font, if you don't give the right care, that is what happens to a tattoo. I I hope I helped someone with this video. I hope this video, by sitting down and taking time to tell you the things that I wish I knew about tattoos, I hope I help one person or even two. Yeah. And yeah, I hope that going forward I'll have random sit down videos like this and tell you what is on my mind, because I realize that my mind is such a rich, it's such a fertile ground. And sometimes I have opinion about things, but because my content is a little bit niched down, I don't find a good venue to just tell you my mind. Or sometimes I find just having a sit down and talking about things making my content feel like they are disassociated, and that is not a feeling that I want connected with my content. So if I'm going to be consistent in this place, then I'm going to will myself to learn things, do things, and just move with the flow. Like for example, you know that my crochet projects are a little bit bigger projects. So if I say that I'm waiting until I'm complete a project, then I feel like I'm going to miss episodes, especially now that I'm juggling between the 8 to 5 and this. So once in a while I'll pop one in here and give you my 2 cents on topics like those. Yeah, kindly let me know what else you want to see in this channel. Let me also know your feedback on do you have a tattoo? Did you have an identity crisis? What was your thing? How has the process been for you? Is it something that you loved doing? Is it something you regret doing? And what else would you probably want to know about the topic? And until the next time, kindly consider to like, comment, share, subscribe. Bye.